Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, I want to share a story called The Bronze Builders: How to Create a Space to Live, Learn, and Thrive. This story blends a little make-believe with real history, real geography, and science to help us understand the important character traits of helpfulness and organization. It follows two young ambassadors from Africa over 1,000 years ago. An ambassador is someone who represents and stands for ideas and activities that are helpful for a certain group. Adorhcs and Nauotet are two of the 18 characters in our historical fiction stories who are ambassadors for our amazing human family. These characters lived in the year 1000 AD. That's over 1,000 years ago. They show us that anyone, anywhere, at any age can become a human family ambassador. And when we use our unique strengths to help others keep things in order, we help make the world better for everyone. In our story, you will hear the phrase, "The earth is a teacher." We don't all have to believe the same things about how our earth was created, but we can agree it teaches us lessons about working together, staying organized, being helpful, and caring for one another. When we meet people who believe differently, we can say, "I don't see it exactly that way, but I respect your view and your right to pursue life that is optimally healthy, happy, and free, and I hope you'll respect mine." Let's say that together. You ready? I don't see it exactly that way, but I respect your view and your right to pursue life that is optimally healthy, happy, and free, and I hope you'll respect mine. That's a mouthful. You'll get it with practice. Learning to live, work, and play with people who see the world differently is a superpower. Are you ready for our story? Let's go. About 1,000 years ago, two young ambassadors met for the very first time at the bustling port of Algiers on Africa's northern coast. They were traveling to a great gathering called the Decennial Summit. It was held every 10 years on the island of Malta in the Mediterranean Sea. One ambassador was Adorhcs from the green hills and wide rivers of South Africa, carrying the spirit of copper helpfulness, lifting heavy bags, calming children, and helping her community. The other ambassador was Nauotet from the steep streets and desert oases of North Africa, carrying the wisdom of 10 organization, gathering supplies, planning ahead, and keeping things in order. Both had been chosen by their people to represent their branch of the human family, a journey their ancestors had been making for generations. Adorhcs and Nauotet had never met before, but they quickly began working together to prepare the Tao ship. They stocked food, water, maps, and tools for learning. Nauotet learned the names of Adorhcs' brothers and crewmates. This was no ordinary boat. It had been built for trade and passed down through Adorhcs' family for generations. "Welcome on board. Let's make this a ship that learns as it sails," Adorhcs grinned. "Let's make this a ship that sails because it's well prepared," Nauotet replied, matching her smile. They began turning the deck into a learning space where people could share ideas, play music in the evening, and solve problems together. Just as everything was perfect, crash! A goat came charging across the deck, scattering baskets of dried fruit, chewing on a rope, and nibbling on the compass. One moment the deck was clean and calm. The next moment, a wild-eyed, curious, bearded, chaos-bucking goat was leaping through the crates, knocking over baskets, nibbling labels, and even eating part of the map. "Quick!" shouted Adorhcs, laughing as she chased the goat with a woven sack. "It's chewing the compass!" Nauotet exclaimed, running after the goat with a carrot. The group didn't yell at each other in anger. They didn't panic. Instead, they worked together. Adorhcs distracted the goat kindly, coaxing her with a bright pomegranate. Nauotet quickly reorganized the sorting station. Together, they all calmed the goat, repacked the baskets, and turned the chaos into a friendship-building moment. "That," said Adorhcs, brushing off her hands, "is why we need helpfulness and organization, not chaos. Who brought this goat on board?" Adorhcs looked around as her little brother poked his head from around a crate. I did. She was so cute looking at me through her tiny cage. She called out to me, 'Blah.' It was like she chose me. I traded a few of our copper bowls for her. I promised to keep her on a leash on board from now on." Akani, a friend and crewmate, quickly cut a length of rope and started fashioning a comfortable leash for the goat and brought it over to Adorhcs' little brother. "Well, I guess she'll be good for a little goat milk on our voyage," Adorhcs reasoned. "But no more trading away our bowls. We will need those for the passengers we'll soon have on board. We will call this goat Chaos." Adorhcs looked at the little goat with her scruffy tuft of hair on top of her head and her large round eyes. She fell in love with her. "You don't mean to be a bully goat, do ya? You can stay, but you'll have to learn that helpfulness and organization are the rules of this boat. Okay, girl?" To the crew's surprise, Chaos dropped her head as if to nod in agreement. They all laughed and welcomed the idea of Chaos the goat becoming a kind of ship mascot. A furry reminder that a little chaos can add a little humor if it doesn't cause harm and take the plan too far off track. "Sometimes," Adorhcs said, patting the goat's head, "a goat doesn't mean to be a bully. They just haven't learned the guidelines yet. And with patience and care, they can become a helpful part of the crew." "Okay, everyone, let's get back to work. We need to get underway before sunset. This is a busy port, and I'd rather not navigate to open water in the dark. And we welcome aboard Nauotet." Adorhcs nodded her head toward Nauotet, and he returned a nod of gratitude and respect her way. Everyone gave a smile of welcome and then turned to work at their tasks of pulling in the ropes and preparing the sails. As the ship prepared to leave, Adorhcs made a few announcements. "We have some passengers joining us. They have paid for passage to Tyre. We're heading there anyway. This makes it a great deal for us, a high return with no risk. We call that copper-bottomed, a plan that's sure to succeed." "It's so nice to finally meet you," another crew member greeted Nauotet. "You can put your belongings here. We can help take them down below later, and we'll all have time to get to know each other once we make up leeway." "Leeway?" Nauotet pulled his trunk full of books and writing materials to the area on deck as Adorhcs pointed to an open spot. "Leeway means to make up for lost time," one of Adorhcs' other brothers answered as Adorhcs climbed the mast. "She runs a tight ship, but You'll soon see that it's all in the spirit of helpfulness. Well, that depends, brother. We're all going to give you extra deck swabbing duties to help you remember your duties. Just look at that rope. You'll have to redo it or we'll be in a tangled problem at our next port. Adorhcs stopped to take up the sail. All right, boss, his eye full of his good humor and cooperation. He knew of the importance of making helpful choices and doing his part to keep things organized. Later, as the crew sat under the moonlit sky eating dinner on deck as they sailed toward the port of Alexandria, they took turns sharing with Nauotet all the required tasks to make for a safe and successful cruise. Nauotet listened carefully and was eager to learn how to help out. The earth teaches us how to organize, Nauotet said, pointing to their map. Mountains, rivers, seasons, they all have their place and a purpose, just like on your boat. Yes, just like our classroom on this ship, Adorhcs replied. They studied the stars and laid out maps. Bronze bowls held dried fruit. Water flasks were lined up neatly. Their dhow ship needed careful planning. Each item had a place, and each task had a helper. While working, Adorhcs thanked Nauotet for treating her with respect. Nauotet explained how in his culture women had long been honored leaders. He told the story of a one-eyed woman in his city's library who had taught him the value of preparation and organization. Adorhcs shared that in her community, knowledge was passed down through songs and stories that were told aloud. She smiled and said she looked forward to learning more about his way of life. Suddenly, a sleek African black-footed cat leapt onto a crate, purring loudly beside Nauotet. Oh, she's our most important crew member, Adorhcs laughed. Her name is Carew. She keeps the rats away. Nauotet chuckled and pulled a tiny hedgehog from his backpack. I hope these two will get along, he said. You see, he lost his mother very young, and we've been together ever since. Adorhcs tilted her head. With that armor, he'll be fine. And who knows, they might become friends by the time we reach the port city of Tyre. I hope so, Nauotet grinned. He's been through a lot. He sure is good company. At their next stop, Alexandria, with its towering lighthouse, Adorhcs reached for a fig at the market, just as another girl reached for the same fig. Her name was Arani, a daughter of a respected scholar. She had heard about the famous Human Family Summit and was thrilled to meet a real ambassador. They laughed over their shared love of figs. Arani admired the beadwork bag Adorhcs carried from her home in Mapamgumbwe. In return, she offered a handmade globe model she had built with her father to explore the idea that the earth might be round. With helpfulness and organization, Arani said, we can navigate any challenge, even the shape of our earth. You've been listening to our lessons, haven't you, Arani? Yes, she said. Arani followed them back to the dhow. Adorhcs explained copper helpfulness and tin organization combined to form bronze learning environments. We were told by our elders, Adorhcs said, that when these two blocks come together, something special happens. Let's see, Nauotet smiled. For the first time in over 10 years, they each brought out the copper and tin blocks each had carried in their own packs from their homeland and put them together. A spark of magical bronze light flashed between them, bright enough to make everyone gasp. Whoa, Arani said. This, Adorhcs explained, is what happens when we choose to be helpful and organized, Nauotet finished, to work together for the good of all. These building blocks each represent the helpful character traits of our human family. And when we put them together at the Human Family Summit, we've heard the spark is breathtakingly brilliant. See, we were given these blocks by the elder ambassadors in our homeland who entrusted us to carry these human family building blocks to the next decennial summit. Arani wished she could join them, but she had to travel west with her family. Before she left, Arani warned them that she had heard of unrest in Malta. They thanked her for the warning and assured her they would be cautious. As the dhow sailed east toward the port cities of Acre, Tyre, and Rhodes, the crew talked about what makes the best learning and living environment, whether it's on land or a ship. Materials, helpful choices, attitudes, music, teamwork, and calm moods, even when things don't go as planned. The earth is our teacher, Adorhcs said. She gives us the ideas and the example, the tools and materials, Nauotet added, and we decide how to use them to keep them going and make life better along the way. Together they sailed on, bronze builders, creating a better world, one helpful and organized choice at a time. The end. Next time, we'll learn about two more characters who are human family ambassadors, traveling to the decennial summit on the island of Malta. And don't forget, if you need a refresher on how to make your best choices in your own life, you can go back and watch the Healthy, Happy, Free videos. Until next time, keep making choices that include all three to be healthy, happy, and free.